Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Beauty School Bobbi podcast. Today, I'm here with Natasha Cornstein, the CEO of Blushington. Thank you so much for being here.
Bobby, thank you so much for having me. I was really looking forward to today. I love what you do.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to jump into everything that you have going on. So, right now, you're CEO of Blushington. We're going to get into kind of the history of how all of this came about. But tell me about Blushington and what this all means to you and what you all are doing at the store now.
Well, Blushington is a brick and mortar destination for the three most in-demand beauty services under one roof: makeup applications, blowouts, skincare services. We started in 2011 completely focused on makeup applications, really recognizing this space in the industry. You could go to a department store and you're really in one line of makeup and it's a very sales forward experience, or it was incredibly inaccessible and you were paying hundreds of dollars, which for the majority of us just isn't in the cards. And that's when our co-founders, Nikki and Steffi Marin, came up with this concept that you could have a destination where you would meet amazing makeup artists that were trained to really listen to you and create a personalized experience. Before COVID, we had locations in Texas, California, and New York, again, totally focused on makeup applications. Fast forward to 2024, we've added blowouts to the mix. We've opened a flagship in New York City, right in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. We've sold 3 franchises, and we're on a mission and a path to sell 130 franchises in the next 5 years. So super excited to speak to you and to your audience of beauty professionals about this amazing opportunity.
Well, I definitely think you're hitting a market that as women, like we understand how quick we need things done. So to be able to go like one stop shop and get it all and not be running around town to get all of the services for it to all be under one roof is so awesome. So I love this idea and I love that you all are growing so quickly. So offering franchises and offering people to buy in, what does that look like right now for you?
Well, right now it's an opportunity that is available in over 35 states. So we've gone through the process of becoming a franchisor. It's been a meticulous process. We've worked with the best in the business. And really, it's about creating this opportunity for ownership. When we look out at the opportunities in the workplace and where we are as a country, we're really leaning towards what we call more of a gig economy, more autonomy. And that's not just for the owners of Blushington, it's also our philosophy towards our artists, which are the heart and soul of Blushington, our licensed cosmetologists. So we've set out to build this business model at Blushington where rather than working for maybe a not so easy boss or dealing with office politics, commuting, you've reached a time in your life where you want to build wealth for your own family, for yourself, to be your own boss. So on the ownership side, there's this tremendous opportunity. On the artistry side, which again that is the heart and soul of Blushington, are our artists. We really take a philosophy that Blushington is part of your journey. And one of the things I'm proudest of at Blushington is our retention rate with our artists. And I really take the philosophy, as does our team, that we want your career to grow. And so we have what we call the trifecta of excellence at Blushington. If you're excellent in your artistry, if you're excellent in your sales, and if you're excellent in the energy and collaborative spirit that you bring, then if you work at Blushington for one day a month and go on set and explore other activities and personal jobs, or if you work with us 4 or 5 days a week, there's that mutual respect and opportunity. So I look at Blushington today as this amazing opportunity for growth, whether you're in the ownership seat or if you're in the artist seat.
Yeah, I think that that's actually really awesome that you're able to do this in the schedule that works for you. Because in the world of beauty professionals, especially people that are working on movie sets or things like that, like your schedule can be different. So it's really awesome that
Yes.
you're able to adapt with that. I think that creating that space for beauty professionals is really, really amazing. And I think something that would be really appealing for sure.
Absolutely. And I really just believe that in this environment where we're seeing more and more technology either replacing jobs or becoming a companion and maybe reducing jobs, the beauty industry has an amazing trajectory in front of it. We sometimes call it Amazon proof. So for those that are thinking about beauty professionals that are operating their own businesses, I think there's a great opportunity in 2024 and a great path forward in the beauty industry.
I think so too. I think that that's awesome. And again, even more spaces and more opportunities because the industry is changing so much from being,
Yes.
there's just so many different opportunities of what you can do and what your schedule looks like and what your, salon home looks like. I think that it's really awesome to have the opportunity to do different things and to have the schedule that works for you. So super thankful for that and super excited about that. What does the
Yes.
guest experience look like at Blushington?
The guest experience at Blushington, I always describe as if you're being enveloped in a warm hug. And that's from the moment you walk into Blushington, having your services and checking out. It is what I call accessible luxury. So you're in a beautiful environment. Everything is incredibly thought out. You're meant to feel welcome, comfortable, but surrounded by beauty. And so the guest experience is very customer focused. Our training is all about listening and really understanding who is this customer that's sitting in front of you? What is she looking for? What are her perhaps insecurities? Where is she going? So you can expect as a customer a real conversation. And I think, speaking about coming back to the things I'm most proud of about Blushington, retention of our artists, but also our inclusive services. And what I mean by that, Bobbi, is that our training and our inventory supports our core values of being a destination for all consumers. What does that mean? It means that anyone that walks into Blushington, regardless of your age, whether you're young or more mature, regardless of your skin tone, if you have a lighter skin tone or a darker skin tone, and regardless of the texture of your hair, if it's straight hair or very curly hair, the artists at Blushington are trained to offer impeccable services for every customer. And you can't say that about a lot of beauty destinations. So again, at Blushington, we're looking for franchise owners that support our core value of being a destination for all and looking for artists that are committed to really expanding their skill set so that they can make every customer experience at Blushington a comfortable and outstanding experience.
Yeah, when you're hiring artists, are you looking for people with experience or does the training include new ideas, new trends and different things for younger, more new stylists?
It's a complete hybrid. And I think that's again the beauty of our training program. We've been training artists for over a decade at Blushington. So whether you're coming in as a new artist and maybe you've just graduated from cosmetology school, or you're coming to us with 5, 10, 15 years of experience, everyone goes through our Blushington training program. And we have ongoing training. We have very sort of set steps of service. So, if you think of going into a Starbucks, for example, whether you're going into and not to compare coffee making to artistry. But what I mean by that, Bobbi, is that whether you come into a Blushington in Houston, Texas, or you come in New York City, we follow the same steps of service so that the training is impeccable. And so again, it's an environment where we've seen artists thrive that are perhaps newer to the industry, and also artists that are veterans of the industry, as long as there's an open mindset.
That's so great. Now, do people do when they work at Blushington, are they able to be hairstylists and makeup artists, and or do you prefer them to say, "Hey, I only do the hair part of this," or "I only do the makeup"? How does that work?
Such a great question. We're actually looking for the hybrid skill. So when we're hiring at Blushington, we love hiring artists that do both blowouts and makeup applications. Will we hire an artist that does just makeup or just blowouts? We will. We do then work to cross train on the two disciplines, because what we're seeing at Blushington is we're averaging 2 services per appointment. So
Wow.
typically, when our customers come in, they want to do hair and makeup. And when you think about it, just coming back to something you said about how important speed is, as women, we spend over 1/6 of our lives on our beauty routine, which probably comes as no surprise to you, but people often can't believe it when they hear it. So
Mhm.
we're really looking to maximize efficiency. So when you are with an artist that does both your hair and your makeup, there's not that transition time. There's not the time of perhaps repeating yourself. So again, we'll hire artists and licensed cosmetologists with the discipline or focus in makeup or hair, but we love when they have both.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially with the beauty school students. I feel like everybody comes in wanting something different. Now, whether they,
Yes.
that changes throughout their time or not, a lot of people will come in and say, "Hey, I only want to do makeup. I only want to do this." And I think that it's great to have, again, just different opportunities. Cause like you said, it used to be at a makeup counter or you would be hired for weddings and stuff. And so I think having this opportunity is great, and I'm excited about locations opening up across the country too to make this more available for more beauty professionals. And I love that you all have added the skincare because I think that that is so important, especially with your makeup application. So the one thing that I keep thinking about though is I love that this specifically. So if you work in a salon or a traditional salon, you're going to be doing all kinds of different hair appointments, right? But in this, it's almost like somebody's getting ready for something, I assume, at most of the appointments. Now, that even might be just like I'm going out on a date or I'm doing this thing, but I think it's probably special events a lot. And I think that if you're somebody that really wants to help people and be a part of like those happy moments, this job would be great for somebody that, really loves connecting with their guest in that way.
Absolutely. And you've touched on something that's really core to the Blushington experience, which is the personalization and the relationship that builds between the brand and the artist and the guest. So, yes, we have an artist that's been with us, I want to say, since 2015. And she always says to me, we're like doctors that only get to give good news. And that's so true. For the most part, we're really joining people on happy occasions.
Mhm.
It's dates, as you mentioned, it's weddings, it's formals, it's bat mitzvahs, it's all types of special occasions. But with that said, we've become a regular on people's sort of weekly routine, where I would say it's more of a wellness routine, where our customers are taking the time to do something for themselves. So we have really series holders that maybe come to see us 2, 3 times a week just because it's accessible, available, and they love the experience. So for a business owner, there's tremendous recurring revenue. There are your customers, yes, that come for special occasions and are often a gateway to becoming regulars. And there are also customers that really look at getting blowouts in particular, but also makeup applications as just part of their routine and part of what makes them feel amazing. So we again see customers that are coming in 2, 3 times a week for blowouts.
That's awesome. I love that so much. I think that that's like a great way, like you said, if you can squeeze that in and it's fast and you can just make it a part of your routine. I think that that's great and just making people feel beautiful, which is what, we all want to do in this industry. So, what are some characteristics or traits of a salon, or I'm sorry, of an owner that you would be looking for?
I really love that question, Bobby, as we meet with dozens, if not hundreds, of potential franchise owners. We are looking for very specific qualifications. We can teach our systems, we can teach you how to use our booking platform, teach you how we do inventory, but it's really the soft skills that we're looking for. And we're looking for people that are incredibly motivated, that are really focused on a growth mindset and an open mindset. They love people, they're highly collaborative, and I would say easy to work with. So we're having a lot of fun at Blushington. That's not to say for all of your salon owners that are listening, it's hard work. And so we're looking for this, what I say, exquisite combination of someone that's really ready to roll up their sleeves, that's really solutions oriented, but that also wants to have a lot of fun, not only with the customer experience, but with building the careers of their artists. So I can give you a few examples. I think our two most recent franchisees that have joined the company come from backgrounds that I think will lend themselves well to being a Blushington franchisee. Dr. Karen Diaz Mike, who is opening a franchise in Boca Raton, Florida. She's had an incredible career. She's a doctor of social work. She went into real estate. She loves beauty. She's been a Blushington customer, but she's at a stage in her life where she's an empty nester and she really is looking to do something for herself, to be a part of a community rather than start something from scratch. She really loves the Blushington brand. And so we're excited to have her as part of it. A different type of owner, and she's actually just bought two franchises in Houston, Texas, also a Blushington customer, which is very rewarding to us, has a little bit of a different story. So our Blushington franchisee in Houston, Texas had an incredible career in oil and gas trading, super motivated, super detail oriented, fast on her feet. She had this amazing career and then off ramp to get married, to start her family, have two children. They're now of school age. They're in school all day. And she really evaluated, what am I doing next? And made the decision. She too wanted to own her own business, be her own boss, but also be part of a community like Blushington that's a nationally recognized and awarded brand. And so I think as we look at the franchisee candidates out there, it runs the gamut, but we are seeing sort of those two trends. That empty nester that had an amazing career, but's ready to go it, to leave the corporate world and be part of something she owns. And that incredible professional that left the workforce to start a family and is ready to jump back in, but on her own terms.
Yeah, and I think for people that have had those careers like you've mentioned, being handed this instruction manual, right? And saying like we've got it all set up because you know that as a business owner, you can spend years trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and having
Yes.
that resource available to you is awesome. And like how amazing that they were Blushington customers. I mean, that says so much. About the brand and about the space that that Blushington has created for people to be like, I want one of these and I want one close to me and I want to own it. That's wonderful.
I have to say, Bobby, it has been incredibly gratifying to sell our first 3 units to existing Blushington customers.
Mm.
I can't think of anything more validating than having them as our first buyers. So super excited. Another path we see is really existing salon owners that are looking to convert their salons. Because as you said, business owners can spend years. They may be able to provide excellent services, or they may have a great location, but something's just missing, or they're really isolated and frustrated with being on their own. So I'm having conversations with salon owners that maybe have been in it a few years, or maybe have been in it several years, but are looking to become a part of the Blushington brand, that
Mhm.
see the benefit of having a nationally recognized brand behind them that has the beautiful branding, the marketing resources, the PR resources, the training resources. So we're welcoming salon conversions, and it's again about finding that right fit, where it works for the franchisee that's joining us, and it works for us as the franchisor. So salon conversions are another path that we're looking at closely.
Wow, yeah, and I'm thinking right now, like, how amazing this would be. We live really close to the University of Tennessee, and I just know what these girls are spending on hair and makeup, and, there's a lot of classes that have been happening, like, I know a lot of sororities are hiring, makeup artists and stuff to come and do classes, like, I just think someone needs to get one on a campus soon, so
Absolutely, or certainly adjacent. Our
Yeah.
Dallas location was surrounded by colleges,
Mm,
and boy, were we filled with their special occasions. There seemed to be some type of formal or special event every week. So we would see a lot of college state students. And
yes.
particularly because we work hard on keeping our pricing accessible,
Mhm.
it really does appeal to all ages of customers.
Well,
But that's
this
a
is
lot of fun being adjacent
yes.
to a college. So fun.
I love that. Well, I want to talk about your background and kind of the skills that you have now made you the perfect fit as CEO for Blushington. You have a background in a lot of different things, which I find so interesting because I think for the young listeners, I think it's really important to know that there's one of the things we talk a lot about on the podcast is there's not just one way, one path that you're going to take forever. Because,
Mhm.
especially in your background, having different things that you've done, I know you're bringing that into Blushington, into this moment, and
Yes.
exactly what you're creating. So, talk to me a little bit about where your career has been leading up to this.
So I would say I have a non-traditional path that led me to beauty. I was actually a Blushington customer, fell in love with the experience, and the next day, in a very serendipitous moment, I was, as a courtesy to my then boss, meeting with a young woman. I was raving about Blushington. She said, I do their PR. And I
Wow.
asked to meet with the owners of Blushington. She connected us that day. We spent 3 months getting to know each other. And then I was hired and have been in my position for over a decade. And
Wow.
to your point about a non-traditional path, I started my career in the newsroom. I started on the overnight assignment desk at the National Fox News newsroom in New York City. Tough job. I would get to work at about 11 o'clock at night and be there often until 8 o'clock in the morning. I happened to be on the assignment desk during 9/11 and in the post 9/11 era. Your young listeners, it's very probably remote 9/11. For those, I'm in my early 50s. So for those of us my
You
age
look
that were,
amazing.
oh, well, thank you, Blushington.
Yes. Oh my
Thank you,
goodness.
Blushington. I do my Beauty RX peel every 3 weeks, and am fortunate to be in the hands of great artists.
It's awesome.
But I started in the newsroom, and in the newsroom, particularly at the assignment desk, you have to be able to synthesize information very quickly. You have to be a great listener, and you have to have really keen attention to detail. All skills that I brought forward. I worked then with my husband for over a decade. I was in the newsroom working insane hours. My husband, my newlywed husband, was building his own business, representing international athletes in the NBA. And at the time, really among the first agents to bring international players.
Wow.
So we always joke. Again, your audience may be too young to remember Jerry Maguire, but if
Yeah.
you remember the Jerry Maguire movie, my husband was Jerry, I was Renee. He did all of the business, all of the contracts, all of the negotiations, and I did everything off the court. So super focused. What I would say, they were professional athletes, but I was handling the customer service, so to speak,
Mhm.
handling everything about their lives, their homes, their doctors, their charitable endeavors, finding schools for their children. So very service oriented and again, very solutions oriented.
Mhm.
And I think those skills also brought me into Blushington, served me very well. I went from sports into a jewelry business that our family had invested in and started at the bottom. I was an assistant to the then CEO and worked my way up to the head of global branding. So
Mhm.
again, something that in my career learned a new industry. I would say I'm a quick study. I love to read. So before I took my job in beauty, I read as much as possible. I continue to read every single day. People often say to me, what does a day in the life of the Blushington CEO look like? Well, first of all, every day is completely different. But the one constant is I spend the first hour of my day reading. I read the news, local news, national, global news, and then I read all of the trades. I read WWD, Beauty Independent, Business of Fashion. So the first hour of my day is spent truly understanding what's happening in the world. And I would encourage anyone, regardless of the field you're in, this is something that served me very well my entire career. Be aware of what's happening in the world, what could be impacting your team, your customers, your suppliers, the mood of consumers, and then also what's happening in the industry. What are the trends? What's new? What are the challenges so that I can be prepared and be working with my team? So, regardless of what industry you're in, I would say it's being a good listener, being a learner, and then also being proactive and solutions oriented, regardless of the industry you're in. That has served me very well in my seat as CEO.
Yeah, and you having the foresight to say like, "Hey, I wanna be a part of this and I wanna come into this, but I'm gonna learn about it," I think is
Yes.
so important. I think a lot of people just think that it's easy. We have this like thing that we say at the school all the time, like we make it look easy, but like it's not. We're just, able to do it and to make it look easy. So I love that you've educated yourself on this, especially not being in this industry and coming into it is something that is not easy to do. So what is something that as you were researching or as you've been in it for this long now in the beauty industry coming from such different worlds, what is something that has stood out to you or maybe surprised you about the beauty industry?
I think exactly what you said just stood out to me and stood out from the day I joined Blushington, which is our artists make it look easy.
Mhm.
And I had to really learn and understand what it takes to be a beauty professional, what it takes to be outstanding. And it's not only the depth of the education, it's also staying up to date on everything that's happening in the industry, constantly working towards building a skill set. And as I watch our artists every single day, every customer they see is like an audition. They're really in some ways, they're doing what they love, but it's a high pressure, high performance expectations. And
Mhm.
I don't think I understood it from being behind the chair to having been the one in the chair. When you are standing behind the chair as a beauty professional, it requires so much skill, so much knowledge, so much education. And I don't think I realized that going into the business of beauty. I was very focused on unit economics. I was very focused on how we were running the business, the marketing. You can read as much as you can read and prepare yourself until you're in it day to day. You may not realize what it is you have to learn. And I would say the biggest thing I had to learn on a day-to-day basis, and that I'm in awe of to this day, is what it takes to be that artist standing behind the chair, to be really analyzing exactly who's in front of you, making decisions about the type of blowout, the type of makeup, what the challenges may be in skin type and hair type, and just how quickly and how adept our artists are at really multitasking, not only on the conversation, on the listening, but thinking about what supplies they're going to need, what type of shampoo or conditioner, what type of skincare and color palette. It's really something extraordinary to behold.
Yeah, and I think for you, listening to your background of what you were doing previously too with your husband and being so service focused and having to think, hey, this person's going to need this, or what's going to make this better, what's going to make them have a better day, a better experience here. I think all of that is so helpful. And I think without that part, it may have been harder to understand. But I think that you can relate so much just in how you were living, even if it wasn't in the beauty industry. You
Mhm.
are still sharing that connection, and you are, having to think of different things that you can do. And I love that you're saying that's what you noticed, was that the makeup artists and hairstylists and estheticians, like that, having all of that ready, is what you related to. So I do think that having that experience was really helpful. And again, I think for young women that are listening, or young men that are listening, to know that at 17 years old, when you're being told, hey, pick your path, just knowing that that path can change. Like I said, just reading about you, it's so interesting, how you end up in this. And so I think for people that are wanting to become, owners and franchisees, I think it's really, really, important to know that you can adapt, and you can come into this world, especially with a service background, that you can connect in that way also. So I really think that that message is important too.
And I love sharing that message. We can often get worried and perhaps insecure or stuck in our own perception that maybe I'm not good enough or I don't know enough, or, in the or and what ifs. And so I encourage everyone that's listening, whether you're a young person deciding on your path, or maybe you're in your 50s like I am, it's never too late to start something new. You have to start. And perfection, and this is not my quote, but perfection is the enemy of progress.
Mhm.
So I say, just try it. What is the worst that can happen? And get out of your own way. Talk to everybody. And I really want to impart to your listeners that your next hello can be your future.
Mhm.
That's why I'm sitting in the seat I'm sitting in, because I said hello, I went for it, and you don't know when that's going to happen. So if you're not listening, if you're plugged out and have your head in your phone, you might miss meeting the person that could change your life. And that's why I'm here.
That's so wonderful. I'm so thankful that you shared that, because I think it's is a message that we all need to talk about more. And I think especially to see somebody, that's successful, and to see somebody that, a listener might be like, hey, I want to do that someday, to hear that it didn't happen by accident, and it didn't happen by, you just went to school and then this and then that. Like, there are things that you have to do to take control of that, of your future also.
Absolute.
So
Absolutely.
how can we get connected with Blushington? What is the best way, as a beauty professional, as a client, if somebody is now listening and saying, hey, I want to be a part of this, what is the best way to connect?
If you're interested in becoming a Blushington franchise owner, you can email us at franchising@blushington.com. You can come to blushington.com, our website, fill out a form that you're interested in franchising, we'll get right back to you and start the conversation. It's what we call a mutual discovery process. If you're interested in a career with Blushington, you can email info@blushington.com. We're also on social media all the time. I would say Instagram is the best way to get in touch with us. You can send us a DM. We have somebody that's always monitoring our Instagram. That's at Blushington. And so those are a couple ways you can get in touch with us.
Well, that's great. And I think, like I said, getting in on this early, while there's, locations opening up and it's just getting the ball rolling on this, I think is an exciting time to come in. So thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so happy that we were able to connect and so happy that we were able to talk about your story and everything that Blushington is doing. So I really appreciate your time.
Avi, I appreciate the opportunity to be a guest. I love what you're doing. I think you're really a leader in bringing the next generation of beauty to the professional world. So thank you for everything you do day in and day out.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And for all of those listening, make sure that you follow, like, and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star review on the podcast, and make sure that you check out all the new episodes of Beauty School Bobbi on Beauty and Style Network. Thanks, guys.